So when I was growing up, I was always taught that if you can't say anything positive, then just don't say anything at all. So I wasn't really expecting to make this video. If you're new to the channel, my name's Simon and I mainly talk about watches. Before we get into this one, I just wanted to say a really quick thank you to everyone who's subscribed to the channel so far. Thanks to you guys, I've hit my first major YouTube milestone of 1,000 subscribers. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider clicking that little red icon in the bottom right-hand corner to subscribe, and why not go back and check out some of my other videos. My last video about the fake moon swatches that are flooding the market has absolutely blown up, so if you haven't already seen that one, guys, I'll leave a card at the end. Go back and check it out. So the good folks at Fraser Hart in Bristol recently reached out to me to ask if I wanted to get hands-on with the new TUDOR Ranger. Now, of course, I wasn't going to pass up that opportunity, and while I was there, they also showed me another pretty rare TUDOR piece. Stick around to the end of the video for more about that one. But anyway, back to the Ranger. Now, if you've been following the channel, you'll know that I've become a bit of a TUDOR fanboy, let's be honest. But when I saw the first press images of this new Ranger, it left me feeling, well, kind of nothing, really. And I guess it's because with some of the great releases that we've seen from TUDOR in the last couple of years, such as the Pelagos FXD, the Black Bay Pro, the Black Bay Ceramic, all of which are great watches, and I've talked about them on the channel before. But in comparison, the Ranger, for me, just seems, well, kind of boring. But one of the really interesting things about this hobby is you should never really make your mind up just from seeing the pictures of a watch. You've got to see them in the metal. The other thing is that a big part of the appeal of watches is about design. And design is really all about form and function. Now, function is relatively easy to establish. Is something good at the job that it's designed to do? But form, well, that's entirely subjective. But in getting hands-on with this watch, there are a couple of things about it that are completely undeniable. The first one is in its size. At 39mm, this watch wears beautifully, particularly for someone like me who's got really skinny 6¼ inch wrists. But I think this would look great even on someone with wrists up to about 8 inches. To me, the case design of the Ranger seems to be pretty much identical to that of the Black Bay Pro, albeit without the GMT bezel. The 3-link oyster-style bracelet on the Ranger is also remarkably similar to that on the Black Bay Pro. It even has that new T-fit clasp, which is fantastic, and gives a little bit of micro-adjustment on the fly. But TUDOR have finally listened to their critics, and with the bracelet on the Ranger, they've finally got rid of those faux-style rivets that a lot of people seem to hate. Now, the Ranger is also available on a hybrid leather-rubber band, and there's also a version available on a NATO. Now, I'm sure it's no coincidence that the Ranger shares some of these parts with the Black Bay Pro, and it makes perfect sense for TUDOR to try and achieve some economies of scale to try and keep the price down. Now, I'll come on to the price in a minute, but before I do, I just wanted to very quickly remind you guys to give this video an upvote, because likes really help the channel to grow. Now, the movement in the Ranger is TUDOR's MT5402. It beats at 4 Hz, it has a 70-hour power reserve, and it's also COSC certified, which means it's accurate to -4 to +6 seconds a day. The dial is matte black with printed hour markers. You've got numerals at 12, 3, 6 and 9, and simple baton markers in between. To me, there's something not quite right about the numerals. Now, whether it's the typeface, which is quite rounded and a little bit juvenile, almost sort of cartoon-like, whether it's the spacing between the 1 and the 2 in the number 12, which is really, really tight, or I don't know if it's that the numerals are just a bit too large on the dial. I mean, it could be a combination of all of those things. I can't really quite put my finger on which one it is. I just feel like the design of those numerals kind of almost cheapens the look of the dial somehow. The design of the dial takes inspiration from the original TUDOR Ranger that ran from 2010 until 2020 when it was discontinued. And I think this is most evident in the design of the handset, which really mimics the handset that was used on that original Ranger. And the most notable thing about it is the shape of the hour hand, which has this sort of elliptical arrowhead shape to it, which some people have likened to, well, I'll leave that to your imagination. What strikes me as a little strange is that all the marketing around the launch of the new TUDOR Ranger was very much focused on commemorating the 70th anniversary of the British North Greenland expedition, where the explorers went far up into the Arctic Circle equipped with Tudor watches, and they monitored them and recorded how accurately they performed in the sub-zero conditions. But the thing is, the watch that went on that expedition was the Tudor Oyster Prince, a simple three-hand watch, yes, but one with a white dial and with sharply pointed hands and indices, which looks completely different from the design of the Ranger. I find it a little weird that Tudor have released this watch to commemorate that particular expedition when it looks nothing like the watch that went on the bloody expedition that Tudor are commemorating. It feels to me that with the Ranger, Tudor set out to create an affordable alternative to the ROLEX Explorer, very much in the same way that the Tudor Black Bay Pro is kind of an affordable alternative to the 1655 Explorer 2. But it feels like they then went looking for a backstory that they could fit around this watch to kind of give it some heritage. If Tudor's intention was to create an affordable alternative to the ROLEX Explorer, then with the Ranger I think they very much succeeded. While the ROLEX Explorer doesn't really do all that much for me, I can see why other people love it. And if you're looking for a simple three-hand, time-only watch, then I think the TUDOR Ranger is a pretty credible alternative. I mean, it's got a cost-certified movement in it, and it retails for about a third of the price of an Explorer. You see, in the UK, the Ranger retails for £2,170 on that hybrid strap or on the NATO, and you can have it on the bracelet for just under £2,500. While it's not for me, I think the Ranger is a great entry point into the Tudor brand. And if you're looking for a versatile time-only watch that doesn't cost the earth and will hold its value, then I think the Ranger is a great one to consider. So while I was at Fraser Hart, I also got to try on another piece from Tudor that's definitely in my wheelhouse. This is a Black Bay 58 in 925 sterling silver. This was released around the same time as the Black Bay ceramic that I previously featured on the channel. I'll leave a card up above for that one if you want to go back and check out that video. This watch features a sterling silver case with a matte khaki grey dial and a grey bezel insert, and it comes on a really cool grey NATO strap. The case has a brush finish that gives it a slightly dull look, and I'm told that over time it'll develop a really nice, subtle patina. Now this one is very much more my thing than the Ranger, and I have to say I really was quite tempted to add it to the collection. So guys, that's it. But I'd love to know what you think of the new TUDOR Ranger, so let me know in the comments. As ever, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.